So we exist in a temporal stability, wouldn't you say so? And it's a stability that is temporarily, then it becomes unstable, but then it moves into a new temporal stability range. Do you think so? Life requires this, not too hot, not too cold type thing. And therefore, a permanence is hidden, then, yes? The permanence is then hidden behind a temporal stability, and we try and put in for a temporal existence in this temporal stability, this temporal life existence, yes? To try and cradle for the, or try and stabilize the temporary. But what we often overlook is the permanence of that. Yes, our temporary existence, we're not going to be here, but yet our lines are going to be here. That's a permanence then. Or a continuation up until a point A, B. Often lots of things get overlooked in this aspect. Should we do this one? So, are you light or are you dark? Which side do you fall in? Which one is hidden in this? There is, again, something else that is hidden, which is it reaches a stable zone, again, falls into a stable zone. Would you call it sunrise, sunset? Could you really tell the difference between the two? Sunrise, sunset.
No.
Interesting. It seems quite hidden, doesn't it? But again, we'll move on to that as a permanence, a contrast between the two. Which one is what? Well, in a temporal, structure of safety, these work out. But somewhere along the line, where these become temporal things, which we could say, here we are, stars, apostrophe S, yes, we'll put that, and we'll put black holes, yes? And again, apostrophe S, one starts and one will finish, either or, yes? We look at this, so we focus this, and therefore some other pattern emerges that something is hidden in between here. That there's this. What is the permanence in here? What achieves permanence? What reveals itself? Well, you can function in this, yes, which is a temporal structure, in a temporal existence, and until things change and move out of that standard that you can exist in, no longer becomes permanent, it becomes a... So, we look at black holes, yes, and stars. Which one's what? Well, once again, could you combine them? Go out to space, move a star, tap into one, drain from one, leach out of one, and pump into another at the right ratio, and tap into the other one, and take back to the other. In a good enough circle. Maybe this cycle might need to be tweaked a little bit more complex than it sounds, than it's being said. But again, you could then make that into a permanence, yes? And then you start to follow this. So you've got sunset, sunrise. You have a shaded zone where you can have both of the lights, yes? Black hole or star. Well, you can create one that keeps it into a stable environment. Temperature is another one. So too cold, too hot, optimal is the middle, again, which gets lost in it because we're trying to keep in this, standardized range for a moment of time, aren't we? So in the universe, everything is subject to change, transform. We keep going with this with even gases down to themselves. Do you think iron wants to be anything else other than iron?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a question, isn't it? It becomes, it's gone from one form to another. And again, you can take this and bring it into the middle again, and iron that would remain iron in a particular environment outside of this hidden environment that seems to be there. Why is it hidden? I don't know. But it appears to be very hidden, yes? So you might see this temporal structure that repeats out, and it seems to be very temporal. However, the universe, is it on a loop? That's a question, and is it a cycle? Everything is a cycle, it seems to be a clue. So yes, on a cycle, then that makes that temporal and permanence of death now appear to be a permanent cycle of this temporary structure. And therefore, if it does keep repeating over and over again, perhaps we lose our memory and come over and over. Perhaps if we do nothing, that's probably just what happens. And life forms that step out of that perhaps start to see some things, some clues maybe, that would help you step. I mean, they're not hidden that well, are they? Here's one for you then. Winter, summer, but tell me the difference between autumn and winter if you didn't have a reference. Autumn and spring if you didn't have a reference of plants. Or are these much of the same, a bit like sunrise, sunset? A bit like the medium ground, huh?
Yeah.
So there's a difference in what we are seeing versus what nature is understanding, yes? So it's put these into, 4 breakdown parts, perhaps. It's following 4 ratios. Is it correct? That's the question. Is it 3, or is that its working out process? Is it 3 structures, or indeed is there a 4th? That's another question. And there, is it already prepping for something else? Is it a mistake that if we follow it, might run into some problems? There are a few mistakes with watching other life forms. Are they grounded to the planet? And therefore there's already a reach up, right? And a crossing. So there is already an understanding to be wrong at a certain ratio and to be able to contribute only to so much to themselves, but into a greater understanding. And just by being around it, it shapes your reality by seeing it. That's the thing. And the whole of reality is shaped by this permanence. We seem to be shaped by whatever that appears to be, this permanent structure in between, this recycling. And it makes you ask a question of what is this arena? So if you could build your own arena, that on the outside it's ferocious, right? It can withstand all of the changes of the universal cycles, yeah? But inside it maintains a stable permanence, not a temporal one.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's the thing. I think you want to move over to a stable permanence as opposed to a temporal stability and transition with the evolution process, or you build your own structures which takes you out of that. Now, if this is able to cope with all of the universe, sure, you learn, right? Don't you learn how to withstand some things? This can withstand anything that this has to throw at it, but inside it you create a stable permanence. That's an interesting thing. And any pieces of iron that you brought in there, why would you need to make iron if you have iron? That's the thing. Why would you need to make hydrogen if you already have hydrogen? And therefore, now the isotopes are resting in a stable permanence.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that sort of process? I know it's hard for me to process this outwards to try and make it make sense. That's the thing. So, and then we go from one position, we're still existing, but we're now existing in a different type of structure that makes use of this. And we have 2 sides to us, do we not? Do you ever think that these are good sides or bad? There's a time to be ferocious and a time to not, yes? Before I forget, let's do it here.
Yeah.
Everyone loves this one. Good or evil? I don't know if that's really good is not the reverse of evil, is it? I don't know, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It often gets overlooked because everybody's trying to pick one or the other, right? Bad, good, bad, whatever. I don't really... Good, evil, nice, not, kind, whatever. What's the middle? What's often hidden? Because you're either this. No, I'm not. I'm this. Oh, see, you are me. Oh, okay, right. We're in... Well, what's the middle? Well, to be both, yes?
Mm-hmm.
To be aware of being both a stable permanence and a temporal stable. To be both of these things, which means to be both of these. Which if I look in the middle, I find what? Balance? It means I can go over to one but not too far and always come back and then go over to another and, you know. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when I'm leaning over too far and somebody else... I think this is probably a better way to sort of flow. Do you think? Maybe? Who knows? It's not here, but again, you can assume in other life forms how have these progressed. Are some of them nice and they want to rendezvous with you and figure out that you're in there, perhaps? Is there a time to go up to that lion and start stroking it? In the future I have no idea what it's like to worry about a lion eating you. An animal attacking you. You're perhaps very close companions. They'll never understand that. You will know that there was a time when you couldn't just do that without being lunch. I would like to understand this from a lion's perspective, that humans would go, and if you take this behavior, right, after a long time, and then you find some life forms here in this environment, the temporal structure, and we know how that influences behavior. Look, there's a planet of lions. Oh, that's so cute. Start stroking them, and these fucking lions are like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? And that's if they're thinking in this way. And if they ever evolved to start speaking, they would talk about these things that came down and these lunches just happily walked into their mouths. From their perspective, that is going to be an interesting sort of cell memory. Interesting. The universe is like, you know, how much of a cycle we just spent wiping all of this, and we've just put in some crazy ideas into some... But even still, that would be a dumbass thing. Oh, these things start to eat us. Wait, hold on a second. This reminds me of Earth. Some people in the back, like, told you, that's what we had to go through. It was worse than this. It was absolutely, just going to exaggerate on there. A bit more sauce. That's good. Yeah, no, these things were worse, man. They flew and everything. Back in my day. Yeah, you can't. So you need two sides, right? I don't think you can go into that all loving and everything.
Yeah.
Hi, we're really intelligent Earthlings. How do you do? I mean, it's just not going to go down very well. You see what happens when you take an animal out of a natural world, especially birds. Some of them get a real deep shock because of this, yeah? Often kill them, they say. I don't know. I only heard stories, great stories, you know. But, there's a deep level of shock, yes? Quite a lot of it. Just imagine lifting humans out of that. After all, it's a biome, right? It's like no different when we do this on our own planet. Therefore, could that ever happen? Just not with the fingers and not nets. I don't know about nets. Ladder, climb up. Gonna require a few things, suits and all sorts, you know. That'll be a very long climb. Then drop down a piece of rope or a harness and I'll tie it and you just get pulling. Human speed, come on now. Just slow enough. Oh, the suspense. What are we going to be breaking into, you know? Could you imagine that? Anything ever happening like that? You feel like Joe Kittinger for the first time, but you've got to jump off this gondola. It's a bit too high, you know? Yeah, even still, funny. Interesting. Stranger things have happened, but you do this, don't you? Find some specimens deep in the ocean, yeah?
Yeah.
What the hell is that? Bring it up to the surface, Bob. It's Bill, but all right. Specimen.
Yeah.
I just wonder to that fish, what the fuck's go through its head if it was intelligent enough to process it. Shimmy, mate. Fucking these aliens came. We're already aliens to them, aren't we?
Yeah.
They're kind of aliens to us, but we're cool with it, though. What the hell is that? Could you imagine them ever seeing a shark for the first time? Apparently they were bigger. This would be like, whew. There are aliens in the water. What do you mean? There was this big thing with teeth in the water. I don't know, but anyway, still weird and wonderful stuff, but still the central ground for it, right? And again, bringing this into here, probably not it. Being a good, nice, probably, yeah. Tipping the scales, keeping it at a balance and a harmonious state. But this, I don't know if I want to lean on towards evil. Just put all of your attachments, bad, failure, whatever you class that as. Attach it to that, and all of those things you can think of. Could you ever be in the middle to that, knowing when, why, how, and what it's there for? I don't know. Be proud of both, but just be both. You know, because you can be both, can't you? Very easily to be tempted to be either in certain moments, depending on which way the waters are rocking, right? Yeah. Which can save your life in the long run if there are other life forms that are not so pleasant, yeah?
Yeah.
And some that are nice, you know how to addressing that, so I sort of find some way forwards, I guess. Assuming that there are lots of life forms that figure this shit out. I don't know about that. But still, it's the arena now. The arena has changed, so therefore environment, yes? Mm-hmm. How many different environments could you make in this? How much could you expand it to be? How big is the universe? No idea. Should we ever go? All right. Keep on expanding each time it has a reset, adding more of what it is. Interesting. Very interesting. But there again, you start to create a very different environment that can quite happily coexist, but it lets go of the temporal to create a permanent.
Yeah.
Already within the permanence, and therefore I think it then begins to reveal that it already is permanent in a cycle.
Yeah.
And therefore, with all of this new data, assuming that it does go that way, and indeed it is correct, or perhaps it's not, but still adjust course until you get there, this new information that starts to come in, kids grow up in this preconditioned, pre-ready environment, already knowing all of this stuff. How does that alter them going further? Because it's going to change the behavior a lot more than it is now, right? Because there's going to be a lot of knowing there, yeah? And whether it's permanent throughout the whole of the structure you go to build your permanence, while times are good, right? Like squirrels, foresting through a summer activity. That would be a good way to probably spend time. As if you ever want to come back. If not, never mind. But, assuming that there is a back, or you create a now and move with that. And then there was another thing that appears fascinating is cloning. To be able to coexist while you are simultaneously being born and simultaneously dying as a clone, but still existing in this clone-like state to continue forward. Neither have ceased, but the continuation of still being in a permanent state while still experiencing the temporal fluctuations. You see, there's another one, right? So to live or to die, eternal life. Okay, interesting wish, but how do you achieve that? Assuming that you could achieve that. First off, why are you asking the question? Secondly is what is there that could be leading you to ask this question entirely? Plants, perhaps, certain species, worms, fish, whatever, maybe. I don't know about the fish one. I probably want to move that one off. But still, we'll keep the water worm. In types of cloning, but still lives up to the birth and death, which keeps you regenerating in this change environment. Perhaps in this particular stable environment, perhaps there won't be much of a need for that. We do understand that we can reside in an environment that is stabilized, germ-free.
Yeah.
Well, we've grown with a lot of bacteria on the planet over the eons. Damn me, we even got some remnants of dinosaur, right?
Yeah.
And do we find some remnants still a little bit fleshy that are still rotting off in places? Perhaps not dinosaurs, but past life? Now and then it exposed, and now it's starting to quickly rot. These bacteria we've never experienced. These were experienced way beyond when dinosaurs were about, let's say. All of that sort of nasty and niggling.
Yeah.
So we're constantly in an environment bombarded with this stuff. What's it like to live in an environment without that? How much energy, life force, is being utilized to keep that away? Or to plan for the next versions that might come? And if you're in an environment where you don't have that, yes, it makes you more susceptible to perhaps leaving this particular environment. But there again, I don't know. Perhaps that gives more time, though. And therefore, are you going to be in this stasis more so? The answer will probably be yes. Chances of you finding another Earth are very remote. Or perhaps you'll find some. And a few abundance, don't get me wrong, but getting to them, another question entirely. Being even able to go down to it, depending on what's on it. Yes, it may look like Earth, it may smell like Earth, but damn me, that's got some shite on there. And it's not about the shite, it's about what are these things here? And yes, I might be able to be cool at breathing in these gases. Meanwhile, in the many trillion bits that make me up, they might have other ideas. I want to mutate with this stuff. Look at this stuff. What is it? It's energy. Oh yeah, and they start building up on this particular gas, and before you know it, I don't know, man. Those particular changes, evolution doesn't go forwards or backwards. Let's hope you've got cloning at that particular time, because you would eliminate these and keep the defaults. And sure, it doesn't need to go backwards or forwards. It can go forwards, trial the water, and be like, nope, 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 nope. No, that's good. That's a whole amount of I'm good. You sort of contaminate yourself. But another part of you stays in this protected environment, just in case anything like that were to go. I mean, because we're all going to get on the same page here, and we made up a lot of weird and funky stuff. And if we've made a mutiny to this, it might make a mutiny, and, just probably want to keep that in a little bit good shape for now. Alan thought, well, we need to finish the robots until we're able to move consciousness into those. We'll be good, okay? That'd be a better way of existing, wouldn't it? Far less to clean up, wouldn't it? You could knock those. I mean, do you think a future could possibly reach that? Finding the awareness part.
Yes, it could.
Oh my God, it's more freedom in here, isn't it? Oh yeah, this robot. Oh my days, it is more responsive than my body. Now imagine if you were able to make atomic computers. That's the speed of what now? Splicing. Could you imagine factoring this to body parts? Oh my days. I mean, interesting, fun. Less body, less sickness. Maybe I can go down to these planets after all. Wait, what can these withhold again? This much. So now you can walk on planets up to this size and this small. Wow, that's incredible. Just your awareness goes, don't worry. Your clone stays here. See, then you would keep all of these different changes in evolutional tracks just in case, right? Just keep clones in a pre-existing state. That's interesting. Just in case these ones start to change in this direction. You see, there's only one of you, isn't there, really? Or your bloodline. And then bloodlines. It's not enough. Is it really? Ooh, one wrong direction and that's it. There isn't really much of a backup plan. Not really, is there? But with clones, you make the backup plan, wouldn't you? You would amplify evolution, wouldn't you? You definitely would. I would. I definitely would. I'd recommend it. Come on. Be able to engineer that. Ooh. And have multiple default settings. Save checkpoints.
Yeah.
What happened to the species? They kind of went really bad. Here's the... Oh my... What happened? We contained them and, they took one for the team. They should be back right about... Whoa. Yeah, I felt it. They're back. Perhaps it goes a little bit too deformed. Okay, maybe we shouldn't have done that. If only there was an undo button. Oh, wait, yeah, because we've been around long enough, there is a default button, which then utilizes death and birth of the perhaps ones that are still continuing. And when one goes ahead, another goes ahead, another specimen goes ahead. Oh, that's really fighting against extinction then, isn't it? That gives evolution something to do, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anything but you to be turning against. We like this, you like that. Hydrogen wants to stay hydrogen, gotcha. In any isotope, doesn't mind the isotope as long as it's still hydrogen, gotcha. You? Lithium. All right, back off then. And what else? I think most of it doesn't want to go through the change. And if we feel like we don't want to go through the change and we want to be complacent in our ways, then do you think that anything else is vibrating at that? It's probably feeling the same thing. I don't want to change. Well, what makes you say that? Well, have you seen nature? And then the animals and the insects and also bacteria, they're all trying to not to do this as much as possible. They're trying to get complacent and exist and expand. But yet, the one thing that keeps on stopping them is the freaking environment, really, isn't it? If only there were some creatures about that could use their fingers, brains, intelligence, and make it an environment that was optimal for them, and not just one. No. What about multiple possibilities? 100,000 bays worth of bacteria going off in different directions. Interesting sort of version there, isn't it? But you could do it, nature, in many different directions. Different extremes, pressures, finding the envelope on all of these. And as it's existing year in, century out in this particular way and in this way, I'm pretty sure it's going to evolve in certain weird ways, which change the ratio just enough that when you bring these back, perhaps it might start making some stronger genes, which would then, if that was successful, and you could find out that, well, humans, we're going to have to get off the superiority chair for a second. Am I right in thinking that if nature can do that, what if we did it? And first we'll be voting and be, yes, okay, and then someone is like, revolutionary, we made cloning. Now your clones can go off and live in that Hawaiian lifestyle this way. Tribalistic clone can live this lifestyle. I mean, that's an interesting thing. Which one's successful? If anything goes bad, well, you're going to get the heads up first, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which then gives you time to figure that out. The more your evolution is going to figure that out. Time to prepare, I guess. Or at least, perhaps, I want to avoid that version there. Let's eliminate that version and we'll keep going this way. These ones didn't do it. There must be something here in this environment that made that go wrong. Too much fire? Yeah. Cinder block, friends. Cinder block. Might as well. Anyway, but still, there's too much goodness. Yeah, we killed all of these with kindness. My God, whatever happened to them? They died from kindness. Centuries worth of work gone. So it is true, you can kill them with kindness. Who knew? And then too much discipline. Somewhere in the middle, I think. Somewhere in that middle. But multiple variations, yeah? So if anything, this would teach me multiple variations. Why? But it just makes sense that you've got a lot of variations to go off in multiple different directions before cloning. That becomes very impressive. So it's got to bulk up in chances of going off in these different environments. Does it affect the species in any way? Which gives it new data, which helps it to mix back in again. That would be a fascinating thing. Changes it just enough. Different pressures, different planets, different... Anyway, but yeah, still. And once again, we've got interchanging environment, yes? And it's out of your hands. Anything inside here is well within your hands. And therefore, everything gets to exist in its current snapshot state. And then how long can it exist for? Depends on the cycle. And then do you think that slightly changes the variations? Got a whole Antiques Roadshow out there. You claim you found this from 40 cycles ago. I did. No, it's got the wrong variations. We've figured it out with this. If we go back here, this shouldn't be it. Actually, I would have said with this variation, there's slight differences. This was from cycle, so we understand it, 49? It's basically worth nothing. Anyway, but even still, you can get the same way we do it with pottery, yes?
Yeah.
And how many variations of different life forms that would work this out? And do you think you would be the only ones, or more so? And imagine getting there and it all be empty and there's nothing else, right? Buzzing around in all of this shit. That'll make you even ask even more questions, won't it? All of this for us? Wonderful. But yeah, resources run down. That's another thing. So again, they're temporary in a form of gas and temporary in a form of matter, which we understand it, which is easier to get hold of. Could you imagine if humans were like given the whole universe and you were the Big Fucking Bang? Here's an instruction manual. Here you are, do this, spend this, see you later, bye. Okay, so we've got to make elements from this. And we've got to transform this water, yeah, into wine. That's going to be a hell of a... No, but we didn't. We came mid-game, yeah? So we're like, wait, what's this? That's fascinating. That would be mine. And this, also mine. And this, fucking mine. Anyway, but still, we do. And then we forge all of these, and we've learned an awful lot just from this particular snapshot. If it changes too much from that, are we going to lose the knowledge of what to do with that? It becomes lost knowledge, does it not? Yeah. And slowly but surely we begin to evolve with it, holding this knowledge. And if indeed we manage to get through a cycle, that knowledge would, I remember this. Hey, wait, didn't we used to go down there and do this, this, and this? Well, you can grow stuff on here. Yeah. All right, an old timer. And assuming that this one will be an old cycler.
Mm-hmm.
If it is a cycle, would you find an area that mimics your planet and mix life on it and put it there and see if any variations come completely different from yours? And then how advanced is that? How many variations could there be of that? Fascinating, isn't it? All possibilities.
Yeah.
And it all seems like science fiction and everything else until you actually pay attention to it and think, well, then that means everything that we're living in is science fiction then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Too strange, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So we sort of keep in this sort of tunnel vision. When it happens, it happens, it happens when it happens, you know, sort of And do you think that all of that space above makes the landmass look bigger than actually what it is? Because we're on it, right? So due to perspective, yeah? It seems like but it's so tiny.
Yeah.
And all of those things that have come together to a point of now, we've done a lot of cooking before we touch them.
Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
And then you'd have to wonder, from that aspect, would it like to stay in that form that it's currently in? Do you think it wants to break down? So again, if you made something, it doesn't matter whether you had iron on the, if you had a way of smelting it or reshaping it when it's done.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a screw once, who knows, I don't know, just assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And you throw it in and it can be melted down and made into something else. Anything you want, but it still remains as iron, it just has a breakdown and build up. Who knows? But it still remains core pieces intact, mainly as iron.
Mm-hmm.
This one remains as this. And then for you to say that would you like to remain in this state that you are now? Probably the answer is yes, and probably others a bit yes. Perhaps if you could do the perks, but by and large of it, yes, you want more of this thing we call life, yeah?
Yeah.
Because that's why we don't want to check I check out when I check out, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It happens when it happens, don't want to think about it sort of thing. And maybe I do, but not quite, just splash. You know, quite the experience, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Procrastination. Worry about it when the time comes. Procrastination. An interesting thing, isn't it? The unknown.
Yeah.
Love a good mystery. I don't know about that. Anyway, still, you know, in certain aspects, depends on the mystery entitled someone else, but not you. Not me, yes? Fascinating. But sometimes you've got to spend a bit of time staring at that and wondering if that is really it. The end. The finish. The answer is no, actually. But yes. Isn't that weird? Like, both the answers wrapped up into one, but it's kind of a weird way to explain it. The only way you can really explain it is the past, is the future, and, yeah, never mind. And then it becomes from where do you stand? Which way are you looking at that? So if you imagine one part black hole, one part star, yes? Universe from here to here, and then it's going to reset and go again, yes? If anything dies here, yeah? From you.
Yeah.
You make it here, and then perhaps this is you. Anything that they did would be gone, wiped. A bit like the Earth, yeah? Some of the past is missing because of weather and transformation and everything else. And where's that paper trail, and what's that paper trail? It's very hard to tell, yes? A bit like this. You know they were there because there's some sort of clues, right? And where the fucking hell did we come from, right? The trail didn't just appear. Well, depends. So if there was any information to be had, where would they put it would be the question. And perhaps you could call them ghost files or X files or whatever you want to call them. Script. I don't know what the word script is. And there's some sort of hidden knowledge somewhere in the world, isn't there? I'd love to figure this stuff out.
Script is something pre-written, isn't it?
Something pre-written.
You follow like script for film, script for something to do.
So script would make you automatically think about lines, yes?
Yeah.
That's not how scripts are given. Humans would be scripted by copying, by seeing people acting a certain way in front of them. That's script building. Your brains don't listen to much writing, although you think it's the approach that is the thing. That is the script. The body language, the experience from that is the biggest script you will ever be handed. Is that really a script? No, that's environment affecting you. Your psychology, yes. The sociology coming in at a certain sponged ratio or stasis that you're in, absorption stage, and people are acting around you in any particular way. I'm pretty sure that you will come up understanding that there's a place for you to be in that. That is not told to you, it is acted around you.
Yeah.
There's a difference. So it's not something that you write into existence, it's something that is shown to you. And it's also shown to you through your parents, by the way, that they may or may not.
Yeah.
And therefore you see dips in this when it starts to break, when people start to show no more. There's a hidden talking or teaching going on inside houses everywhere that's probably being passed through to the kids, that then builds up on this resilience, which then begins to crumble and rumble foundations so often than not. And then a new script starts to formulate, I think. Yeah, anyway, overall, this would be another script as well. You'd be living temporary, yes? In this sort of security temporarily. But you can't live into a permanence, you know? That's a change of script then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Things are different. There would be no point in death. Death would just disappear. And then also murder would become a thing of the past. So it helps with resurrecting. Why did you... Okay, but, probably better ways to help people navigate through this. And there again, does that come up to someone who then shows forgiveness and perhaps someone learns? Do you think that there ever could be... I often look at these as being the most sensitive moments that you could ever go through. But if you ever thought of resurrection and resurrection with memory intact, that's the next bit. Can be quite brutal, yes? Final moments, perhaps all in a haze, and go backwards from those moments. Again, very hard thing to hold on to, right? Remembering that, those final, assuming that you can get over that. And you can't, because some people have had near-death experiences and done pretty well. Actually, some of them have done really well. It's by not thinking about it, there's no choice in that. That was time, perhaps moving towards a certain aspect. Anyway, so if you were to resurrect these people, again, assuming that one particular person is a victim, assuming victim, and one particular person is the one that did it. Do they heal that themselves? That's a question. Is there prison? Is a question. Is there a law? Now, you know you won't be doing that again. Oh, I know you won't be doing it again, because there'd be no fucking point. But again, it would teach me about serial killers, and you would be on my biggest watch list. You'd be bloodline killers. And serially, you would be doing that. Therefore, databases for people like you, perhaps, should never know about. And perhaps be locked to AI, trustworthy enough. But again, it can be programmed. Absolutely, yes, it can. But there again, it's more trustworthy than most humans if we understand that. Who would you ask to hold on to your specimens? All of you, the lot. Kings, queens, no one above, anybody or below. You're all varnished into this particular area. Yeah, just in case anyone actually tried to do some shit like that. But there again, education is education. Perhaps this person turns over a new leaf and never does it again, or even attempts to do anything like that. Terrorism, very weird thing. That would be around that. People would have to protect this stuff, right? Bystander effect. What's all that about? That's particularly shocking events that helps for. There was a reason behind that. But yeah, so what would you do in those situations? Because that's something, isn't it? Add to prisons? Or do you educate? I mean, if you were to move into the future and they had this capability, what would be the things? This would be a good thought to have. You know, by staying here now, I'm flexible enough to be able to understand that, you know, everything that I understand now is just a pinch of salt. That's all it is. Unless it grows, and still a pinch of salt. Anything compared to the future is always going to be greater and better than anything that we can create right now. Why? Because we're not at perfect level. We're not at that flatline ratio of it. We're on the road, I think, maybe, is probably the best way to explain that. So, if there is a chance that the future could do all of this stuff, how do you guarantee that you'll be resurrected? Well, you're going to have to be multicultural, multi-diversal, because I'm pretty sure that if they're thinking about bloodlines and birth and everything on sacred, they're going to have expanded this. Hopefully in a correct way. Huh? No, wonderful. But bringing you back, lots of things. This is probably going to be a big one. Crimes. Ways that we acted. Are we capable of learning or changing? Were there any moments in history where it made it more flexible? Would you seek out certain individuals? Need to know? Any idea of how to get through to these? No. Anyway, everyone responds different. So do you understand then, even to come into reality, you must be lulled into it the same way that you would... There's truth in birth, right?
Yeah.
You are suspended, right? Lulled into it.
Yeah.
Do you think your awareness is just boom all at once, or do you think they lift off very steadily like an aeroplane? Or no, probably more like a rocket. Starts off quite slow, and then all of a sudden is shuttling through the air.
Yeah.
Like it is thirsty for space. All it wants to drink is nothing. Hey, I like that. Anyway, so, the whole thing, life in this sort of way is we're gently lulled into it, and we sort of have this dimming effect that gets stronger as a certain age, and we call it growing, don't we? All of that sort of stuff. But it's very interesting transition. Do you think that would be a best way for an adult to transition into a future state? I think it would be, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Sort of as that kid state sort of thing. And as who would you see? Well, you'd need to see a family member, quite painfully, going back and unpicking all of that. And then do you think it could become quite argumentative? Well, I want to do it my way. This way was better. No. Then there's changes. Everybody hates fucking change, don't they? Especially in that sort of... But changes can be made that can be bridged into certain aspects. Yeah. If they do pick certain people, I mean, what a pain in the ass if you were to pick everybody that existed now. I mean, that's the term and condition. Resurrecting this fucker, we need everyone. Oh, and that means by rights that all the people that passed on as well, to a certain date of all the way. Actually, everybody. You don't want much, nor do you. What is it you're after? Information, teachings? What is it? Interesting, right? What secrets did I stow away whilst living? Anyway, but even still, this would then put incentive on people to try and bring back as much data as possible, right? To configure it, to learn it, to understand it. And after all, life is applying this going one way. There must be a way to tap into that, after all. It's just hidden. Very hidden in processes of back and forth, which we look at the body and it is between two forces, right? If we look in between that, there seems to be something a little bit more than meets the eye. Empty space? Are you kidding me? Which you can only see because of the particles that block the space, create a pattern around these particular no spots and yes spots, hot spots and cold spots. There's a lot of spots. In order to create a temporal structure that could quite easily survive time. Don't you think? As it has done in multiple different states. But there you go. There you are. Suspending elements. Can you do it? Yes. And then what type of universe do you create if you were to expand that? That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? And do you think that you could just give this type of existence over to any new life forms that were coming in the universe? They're new. Come on, stick them in here. I wouldn't. Would you? That's too advanced. Do you think they need to walk a road first? Sort of be educated this way, and then from that to this way, and then from that to this way, and sort of climb, do you think?
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Wow, imagine trying to compact that data. And being awake at certain times. So who was the longest nation throughout history that has been awake? And advanced awake? What are the nations that are that? Because that's an interesting thing, because that's based on time, yes?
Yeah.
Of being awake, not particularly climbed anywhere. No, because we got a long past before any of this. Who was it then? And who has held that? Who were the ones that unlocked that furthest back? Hunter-gatherer, I don't care, that's an interesting thing, that you don't understand the process of that, do we? So therefore, even if we were getting closer to the final black hole, right? What's one piece of information you're going to need? Internal and external information. Would you create something else that goes alongside this evolutional piece to etch some things that you would understand, or at least have a shot at understanding? Those information is going to be massive. Anyway, but still, to be able to map, in a way, the existence, because there is information missing from when this first started, and the etchings come along to help you go a long way as to what you experienced from your perspective to make you as close to realistic as possible, which would be an interesting thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
To then trigger off your conscious awareness in that particular. Anyway, there's loads of ways it could do it, but even still, imagine being able to etch it into that. That's fascinating. Camera, maybe. Which then bit by bit, time after time, database after database, information of how this person is. Yes, it can be edited, that's the thing. Again, we're playing the whisper game, right? We're relying on other people to perhaps move these honestly and accurately through time. Yeah, it's one of those situations. How do you deal with that in a cycle, do you reckon? Where it all ends and everything is wiped and restarts again, and yeah. Fascinating, isn't it? Did you find that fascinating, that it's know so much and also you have to remake it on the next cycle? And then where's putting that information too soon? Because if the information goes in too soon and the ancients just waste it and do nothing with it because they haven't got enough build to do anything with it, and then disregard it, and it never gets sent again, you've lost a piece of information that was sent too soon. Sent too late, detrimental. Sent too early, bit by bit. So do you think you could frag it that way? To then be able to understand your whole lifeline? Would you designate clones to it? That's interesting. Engineered clones to be slightly separate but fully connected when the time comes, and another version leaves in a bloodline of a temporal state, just for data purposes. Anyway, and still, yeah, life is fascinating, isn't it? Oh, and the differences between them all, right? So live in that. Right, gonna leave it there. But even still, so most people say good or evil. You're both. Light or dark? Sunrise, sunset. Summer or winter? The in-between phases, which feel identical to me, to be honest. So just spring and also autumn. They're both incredibly smelly times of the year. Yeah, wax in, wax out. I can't tell the difference between the two, except for there's a good times. These are transition times. Yeah, sunrise in the day, or it's either gonna have been a cold night and we're going into a warm day. It's nice to ponder on that during the sunrise, but at this particular moment, I'm neither hot nor cold. I'm somewhere in between in this particular cold night, yes, but there's warming rays, and perhaps it's been a hot day and cooling night, and I'm in between that. That's very nice, tranquil existence to be, isn't it? In the middle of neither too hot and neither too cold. And while doing lots of exercise, I wonder how much more you could get done if you were to cool down at that time as your body's heating up and try and keep it cool. Could you do more? Does the body have to work less? Does it get less elevated? Therefore, does it mean that you can travel further? This is one scientific experiment that I've never seen done, but again, it would fascinate me that if someone on a run machine, what can they do when they get tired out and everything else? What's their maximum that they can do? And then another one is going to be rigged to a suit that is going to make them cool down fast. It's going to remove the heat very efficiently away from their body and try and keep an optimal operating environment the more they put in. Are they able to run further as a result of that, just by keeping the temperature at an optimal? Interesting. Or do they run less because of it? Who knows? On a mill, whatever. That'd be an interesting thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's getting the temperature just right. Yeah, and likewise, if they're doing nothing and not running, can they stay at a peak heat, basically, and cooling that's built in, that's better than the one that you've already got, that's very quick? I wonder what that does. It must free up energy. It must do. Something mustn't work as hard in order to cool it down, or to do... Is it better energy conversion at the same ratio? Interesting. But anyway, Probably like jazzing up a car, right? Taking an old car and doing some modifications to it. Can you make it better? I think you can. Bit by bit, just jazz it up. Can you make it more efficient? Fuel efficient by doing so? The answer is yes. Can you do the same with your body? Well, what does this give you in terms of a car? Well, more miles per gallon in your body. Same thing. More miles per gallon for what? Study, creativity. Is there more Jenny and the Petty and the Jenny to keep your engine burning? Is it more? Fascinating, isn't it? Temporal zones.
Yeah.
All of these mediums, they seem to shout out everywhere. But everybody wants to be one or the other. I want to be both, maybe, sort of, in that moment. And if I am both slightly at a percentage, do they cancel each other out? Or do they amplify each other? Therefore cancelling or amplifying either or. And it's the sort of reverse of the other, which then makes me look at the periodic table again and say there must be a reverse of this periodic table, because everything seems to be pointing to this sort of stuff, doesn't it? Sort of hidden. Maybe it is visible, but we can't see it with our... We see it with the stuff that surrounds us. And again, until we understand it, it becomes visible. But I think the medium ground, well, that's a realm of your own, isn't it? The middle, to combine both of these. You've created something new. It clearly isn't there, not that you can see, not that you understand. It's there invisibly. And by bringing both of these realms together, we can suspend things. We can also get orbits that suspend a star. No fusion too much and not enough to break it down, but enough to keep it in a suspended state. We like to live in suspended states, don't we, as humans? We really do, don't we? Suspended states of seasons and traditions. Lots of these suspended existence. We like to halt the forest. The reason why we cut forests is because we don't like to change. That's basically it. Concrete streets stay the same. Same day in, day out, day in, day out. It's the same, right? Because it's set into stone. Whereas nature, you never were in the same environment. It was constantly growing year in, year out. But because it's so subtle, you don't realize it. So is the encroaching winter and the encroaching summer. It's very subtle. You barely even notice it. So do you even notice seasons changing as much when you're in them? Not really, but when you glance now and then from a window, you can tell it's getting close to Christmas. You're always looking out of it. You're always looking at your window called a TV, right? An artificial window. Wonderful. Outside window now and then, I suppose, you know. So you can already tell that your influenced life would be a bit more better to be suspended in that. Yeah, very fascinating though, isn't it? Do you think? What a good existence. Goody. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it there. So, yeah, be flexible, I think, isn't it? Be flexible as you are. What would you do if anything like that ever happened? Who would you be? Well, you wouldn't be the person that you could be. You would have to become somebody new, right? You'd have to transform. And then, am I fake? No. I'm an adapter. Are you an adapter? Yes, you're an adapter. And everybody is an adapter, right? Place them into an environment and they adapt to it quite quickly, I think. In some... Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, there you are. We're going to try to keep going down that path. We'll see. All right, let's leave it there.
Yeah.
Clickety click, done-diddy done.
Clickety
What do you
click.
do?